Hello and welcome to our Central Belt Stuck at Home special. I'm Madeline Schmall from the Scotch Malt Whisky Society. We've got a really good show lined up for you tonight. But first, I'm going to introduce my co-host, Callum Lawson. Hey Callum, how you doing?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. I just enjoyed the home dining for Glasgow actually, and it was really, really tasty. So thank you
Lovely.
so much.
Well, I didn't
It,
make it personally, but yeah, I'll take credit for it, no problem.
yeah,
Uh,
I've
I've
just
had it before.
got
It's good, isn't it?
Yeah, I've got the third dram, the one that went with dessert, and I'm going to be enjoying that one tonight during the show. What
Lovely.
what are you drinking?
Well, I've got a couple of society bottles here. My go-to at the moment is 70.25 Guez Beer Breakfast. It's from the
Mm,
Spicy and Dry flavor profile. 9 years old, refill bourbon. Just a nice, easy one to start the night. It says breakfast. I often talk about breakfast whiskies, but at 60%, it's probably not one you want to have for breakfast. But add a little bit of water, and it's lovely. Yeah, I'm really enjoying that moment.
ideal. Sounds great.
Here.
I think especially now it's getting a bit colder, and it's this whole idea of kind of currying in as we get a bit into the chillier months. Especially just a nice dram, cozy jumper, get the candles lit.
I was about to say, I like your jumper. It looks very cozy.
How are you embracing curry and just now?
Well, I do have my t-shirt on though, so I do have a hairy chest, so maybe I don't need the jumper quite yet. But I'm sure I'll be digging out my woolly jumpers pretty soon. Uh,
Absolutely.
but
Yeah, we've got.
it says Billy Connolly says there's no such thing as bad weather, only the wrong clothes, Madeline. Hoping I'm
Yeah,
not
well,
bad using, if we're keeping it Glasgow.
I know, and we've got Les tuning in, saying he's tuning in from Harrogate. Hey Les, how you doing? Good to have you on with us. Be sure and let us know what you're drinking tonight as well, what drams you're enjoying. We'd love to hear from you, and feel free to use the Altogether SMWS hashtag as well, and let us know what your plans are for the weekend.
Absolutely.
But I think to kick things off, we're going to get started with a song by Donald Livingston. So he's a lockdown legend based on the Isle of Skye. And he's actually recorded a wee version of Now Whistling Winds, which is based on a Burns poem written in 1783. My colleague Richard described it as it's a lament for man's destruction of the earth. It talks about change of seasons. It's also a love song to his darling Peggy, though, so we're going to have a listen to that just now to set the tone for the evening.
Sounds good to me.
Now whistling winds and slaughtering guns bring autumn's pleasant weather. The moorcock springs on whirring wings among the blooming heather. Now waving green wild o'er the plain delights a wee farmer. The moon shines bright as I rove at night to muse upon my charmer. The partridge loves the footed fells, the plover loves the mountain, the woodcock haunts the lonely lonely dells, the soaring hern, the fountain. Through lofty groves, the cushrat rose, the path of man to shine. The hazel bush o'erhangs the thrush, the spreading thorn illuminate. Thus every kind of pleasure find, the savage and the tender. Some social join and leagues combine, some solitary wander. Avant away the cruel sway, tyrannic man's dominion, the sportsman's joy, the mothering cry, the fluttering gory pinion. So Peggy dear, the evening's clear, thick flies the skimming swan. The sky is blue with fields in view, all fading green and yellow. Come let us stray our gladsome way and view the charms of nature, the fruited thorn, the rustling corn, and every happy creature. We'll gently walk and sweetly talk till the silent moon shines clearly. I'll grasp thy waist and fondly pressed, swear how I love thee dearly. Nocturnal showers to budding flowers, not autumn to the farmer, as dear can be as thou to me, my fair and lovely charmer.
Wow, what a
was
tune!
beautiful.
That was Donald Livingston with Now Whistling Winds, and big thanks to Lucy, who actually did the camera work for Donald while he was playing there.
It's crazy to think that we haven't had any live music anywhere for about 7 months now. So I really enjoyed that. I cannot wait to see some live music, especially in the venues as well.
Yeah, I think music just really brings the place to life, especially with Glasgow. I know that when the venue opened, that was one of my favourite parts of the opening, was hearing the live music.
We had big plans in the first 10 days before we closed for lockdown, yeah. And then, unfortunately, we opened back up, it was under restrictions, so there was a lot of things that we couldn't do, but live music is definitely going to be a big focus at the Glasgow venue, yeah, absolutely.
Definitely. And we can see there that you're all telling us what you're drinking. So Les is on G8.11 Sweet Remedy, which is a 30-year-old, which sounds divine. And we've also got Terry McCormick, who's drinking Glenfiddich 21 Reserva Rum Cask, which is a cracking dram as well. I've tried that one. That's a good dram. But I think we'll maybe change gears a bit and actually head to Glasgow for a cocktail. You wanna take this one, Callum?
Absolutely. We've got a couple of great wee cocktail videos for you tonight. Both are from colleagues of mine. First up is Chris Grimes. He is going to be showcasing the Stinger cocktail for you tonight, which I had never heard of, but I tried it when he made it in the venue and it was really, really enjoyable. So yeah, here it is. Chris with the Stinger cocktail.
Good afternoon, my name is Chris Grimes. I'm from the Scotch Malt Whisky Society here in Glasgow. I'm going to be making you a very classic pre-prohibition cocktail today. Simple, 2 ingredients, it's a great after dinner drink, very fresh and minty. I'm going to start off with 25 millilitres of white creme de menthe. And 50 millilitres of Trifle Delightful Cognac. So simple 2-to-1 ratio, can't go wrong. And as I said, 2 ingredients, so just ice up. Stir. So very popular during Prohibition times. Strain into a chilled goop. And there we have Stinger cocktail.
Wow, looks tasty.
Yeah, lovely. And a wee glimpse of the Glasgow venue for those of you who haven't been down to see it yet. I believe there's 700 open bottles behind where Chris was standing, so quite an impressive selection.
We'll have to come by and try some.
Well, you've been.
Well, yes. I mean, Glasgow is my local, as it is your local. We should say we're both from coming to you from our homes in Glasgow tonight, as opposed to a venue due to the restrictions. But we're bringing the pub to you. So, what more could you ask for?
Exactly. I see a friend of mine, Stuart Borland, says, "Looking good, Callum." Thank you very much, Stuart.
Well, we may be in Glasgow tonight, but we're going to actually head over to Edinburgh now and take a look at Holyrood Distillery before we sit down and have a wee chat with them. I think.
Creating a new distillery in an old building certainly comes with its challenges. But what it allows you to do is start from scratch when it comes to putting the visitor experience first and foremost. That's certainly the case here at Holyrood Distillery in this historic building in the heart of Edinburgh.
Everything about the setup from the visitor's point of view is about flavour and knowledge, with the first stop on a distillery tour taking you to the nosing room. It's been designed to put your olfactory senses to the test, and every stage of the tour is geared towards not only educating you about the process, but to helping you identify what kind of flavours you might be drawn towards more than others. The focus on flavour shouldn't come as a surprise when you consider that Rob and Kelly Carpenter from the Scotch Malt Whisky Society's branch in Canada are co-founders of Holyrood Distillery, along with David Robertson, who brings his experience from working with Diageo, the Macallan and Rare Whisky 101.
Well, the journey's been very, very interesting. It is no small feat to pull all this together and get it up and running. It's a long, narrow building, as you might expect from its association with the original railway that was here and the rail yard that was outside the building. So we had to essentially fit all the equipment on one half of the building and stack it so that we could fit other things in underneath, which was an interesting challenge for our engineers and a whole new way of building a distillery, really.
Flexibility is also key to the production process at Holyrood in terms of the variety of different flavour styles being produced, from sweet, fruity, spicy and smoky.
So the fact that it's a small setup means that we've got daily runs that doesn't take us as long as maybe such larger units. So we can actually play and we can do a week of flavours and actually develop that flavour over a week and see what we've got. They're also really, really tall and thin, as you would have seen. Some of the tallest stills in Scotland. I think we're second place, but we are tallest by volume. So this gives us a lot of play in how we drive the stills. We can drive it with more heat, give in a little bit of a boost, or we can slow it down and make all those alcohols work quite hard to get out of. That gives it a lot of copper contact. We have a lot of reflux happening, and that gives us that nice lighter character.
So all the way through from the grain and yeast that we're using, we can also change the parameters during our production. So the mashing, the fermentation can change as well. So we can have very long fermentations, up to 5 days, 120 hours of fermentation with a very different spirit character compared to a short fermentation, which would only be 2 days. And into our distillation as well. The way we drive our stills, the way we run them, whether we do it very quickly and boil the spirit quickly, or whether we do it slow and gently, will give a different character. The heart of the run is very important as well. So when we're doing our distillation run, we take a heart cut, which then goes on to become spirit at the end. And in our distillery, it's usually very small, only around 15% of the entire spirit goes into the heart. We can vary how we take the cut points, whether we want something fruity or something more oily and more robust, depending on the different cut points that we take. We can also do triple distillation as well, which will give more purified and concentrated and quite a sweet character and spirit.
That flexibility is apparent in Holyrood's custom cask programme, which allows customers to tailor their whisky flavour to their individual tastes.
For this programme, it's all about creating, capturing and concentrating the flavour that you want in your spirit before we make the choice in the cask to mature the spirit in. So the critical thing is the raw material choices. What do we want to use for our malted barleys, our yeasts, etc.? So talking about malted barley, we can use distiller's malt, we can use peated malts for a smoky character, or we can draw inspiration from the craft brewing industry and use specialty malts that might have been roasted, toasted, heated a different way, and each of these choices can influence the flavour in your spirit.
All of that flexibility and focus on different flavours means that we shouldn't expect a standard profile from Holyrood in the future. As Rob Carpenter explains, there should be a variety of styles.
Well, we're producing different flavor styles, so we're producing things that we want to eventually put into bottle as a sort of a fruity style or a sweet style or a smoky style, etc. We're not what someone might call a typical lowland distillery with a light fruity style. So we're doing all kinds of things, and that also allows us to combine those flavors in different ways and create a very complex spirit. We're pretty happy with how things are maturing in the warehouse. We're almost multiple distilleries in one, whereas most distilleries only produce one style, and they release them different age statements. We will do some of that, but we will produce different flavor styles, so a completely different approach.
And a different approach is always worth celebrating.
And there you have it, Holyrood Distillery, a brief introduction. We actually visited the distillery a couple of months ago, Callum and I, and a whole bunch of our SMWS colleagues actually as well. So we got a kind of behind the scenes look then, which was really fun. Oh, I think Callum's still muted. Happens to us all.
just as well, because I was almost butting in a little bit there. So what I was going to say was that is exactly what I was going to say. We did the tour at the same time, yeah, and it was great. It was awesome. We boutique craft distillery, and I loved it. Yeah.
And now we're actually going to go live to Holyrood. We've got Elizabeth Matchin and Lucy Garrity, and they're both going to join us live. Hi guys, how you doing?
Hi. Hi.
Hello.
Good. How are you?
Yeah, good.
We're good. You've got an impressive backdrop there. A bit more impressive than this, I'm afraid.
Not do it properly. I'm in the process of redecorating, so I've not really got anywhere presentable. But...
You just moved into the distillery, have you?
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh, it's warm at least.
It's so warm. It's lovely. And it smells pretty good.
I can imagine. Well, we'll dive right in. So I wondered if you both could kind of tell us a bit about what you both do at Holyrood.
Yeah. So hi, I'm Elizabeth. I'm one of the part of the distillery team. So it's myself and one of our colleagues, Elliot, and my day-to-day job is basically running all of this lovely equipment that you can see the final bit of, which is our lovely spirit still. And obviously behind that, we also have a lot of logistics because we're a very small city centre distillery. So our warehouse is a little bit far. And yeah, producing all of our gin, whiskies, and volume. And Lucy?
Yeah. So hi everyone, I'm Lucy. I work with Elizabeth here at Holyrood, and I run the cask program that you saw David and Cole speak about in the video. So my day-to-day, I work quite closely with the production team. So that's our distillers like Elizabeth, and also our guys at the warehouse to kind of make the orders that we're receiving from our cask owners. And then I'm the point of contact, so keeping in touch with all of them, making sure they're up to date with what's happening at the distillery.
Fabulous. There's, I think there's a relative of yours, Sarah Garrity, says, "Hi, Lucy, looking good." Very good. Trying to embarrass you, I'm sure.
Oh no, he's a team member of SMWS.
Oh, okay, awesome. I've got a wee question for you. I don't honestly mind who answers it. So a lot of our members haven't had the chance to make it down to the distillery. Could you tell us a bit more about what makes it so unique?
Yeah, so I'll take this one if you don't mind, Lucy. So I think obviously being in a city centre distillery, most distilleries now have sort of ventured a little afar because obviously logistics and running the whole process. And probably the fact we're in a listed building, so we're in quite a constrained space. If you actually come down to our place, you can see all of our whiskey distillery equipment actually on one floor. So it's secretly on 2 floors because it's also down below. All of our tanks are double stacked, so all of our fermenters are double stacked, our hot liquor tanks are double stacked, and it's actually quite an interesting piece of engineering. And then of course our stills are lovely and tall as well. And you can have a full tour if you do come down at some point. We can take you through flavour, we can take you through the gin making process, whiskey making process, before letting you leave through our own little cask room that we have as well on site. So it's packed full of a lot of experience.
Great.
Make it unique then, yeah.
I actually had a question for you, Elizabeth, and that was how you kind of got into distilling, how you really got started with it.
Yeah, so that's actually a funny one. I started off my, I guess, professional career as a nurse and decided that that probably wasn't for me long term. And I was actually a brewer by hobby. So I found out about the masters at Heriot-Watt and decided that nothing lost, nothing gained. I applied for it. And a couple of years later, here I am. I managed to bag the dream job in Edinburgh City Centre. And converted into distilling as well. After sort of having a trial go at them both, I was definitely sold into distilling of a brewing.
That does sound like a dream job. Although I have to say, I think working in whiskey just generally is a dream job.
Yeah,
Really.
I agree with that. Speaking of drams, Lucy, have you got a wee dram in your hand there?
I do, yeah.
What are you having then?
This is one of the Holyrood Spirit Merchants range. So this is our fruity one. So
Nice.
for a cold evening.
Absolutely. Sounds perfect.
Yeah.
I'll ask another wee question if that's all right. Obviously a lot of members watching tonight. How else can members get involved at the distillery?
Yes, so obviously we're running our tours and you can come and visit us. But as you saw in the video, we're also running our custom cask program, which is what I run with the distillers and guys. So we've actually got a competition running with SMWS at the moment where you can win your own cask. So if you haven't entered that, definitely do because it's amazing. But that's one of the other ways you can get involved is you can have a cask with us here at Holyrood. The kind of process behind that, we have a flavour consultation where we bring you down to the distillery and we take you through the new make spirits that we're making alongside a couple of single malt whiskies to kind of explore the flavour and what you're looking for. And then once we've kind of identified that, we go to our lovely distilling team and speak to them about what kind of recipe will suit that. So the yeast, the barley, the malts, and whole production process as well as the final cask. And then once we've kind of agreed all of that, we put that into production and we make your cask. So that's an amazing way to get involved with us and exciting.
It sounds like the best way to get involved. I think that sounds great. I haven't really heard of many places doing that. So that, again, is something very unique that you guys are offering over there.
Yeah, well, I'm slightly biased because it's my job, but totally recommend.
Well, I don't feel a bit like that as well, but, you know, when you're honest about something that's so good, it's nice to find chip it in for a quick task.
Yeah, we're both cask owners here.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I wonder, sorry, go ahead.
You know, I test what you're doing, so it's good.
Absolutely. I was wondering actually as well, you were talking about like some of the flavors that you can create and that you have quite a fruity dram. Could you tell me a bit more about the different flavors that you can create? Like, let's say you win one of these casks, what different flavors can you create?
Yeah, I'll hand over to Elizabeth because I think she's probably best to answer that.
Yeah, so at the moment, on our current cask program, we're offering 7 different recipes. And these recipes, each one is either malt-led, we've got yeast-led, or we've got wood-led. So depending on the flavors that we want to develop, for example, if we want a smoky flavor, we'll obviously use some peated malt. And then we'll look at heavier cuts. So it also depends on how we're running the stills, and we'll look at a deeper cut in the heart so we can get the sort of heavier, waxier, oily elements that you would expect from a peated spirit. If we want something light and fruity, we'd look at different yeast, sort of maybe a wine yeast or something like that, and we can convert flavors through that. So we do have a lot of play and we're doing a lot of fun things. Definitely since we've come back from lockdown, we've had a lot of really nice recipes that we've been trying out. But yeah, we're able to tweak every part of the process essentially, from our malt to even our fermentation time, the yeast we use, the cuts of spirit, and then of course one of the probably most important part, which is our wood.
Yeah. I think, like Elizabeth said, it's the custom cask program. So the clue's in the name, it's custom, it's personalization. So it's all about kind of what you want, the flavor you're looking for, and then how we can create that for you.
I'm sold. Put my name down.
Put him down for one, yeah.
We're talking about embarrassing family members. So my brother's now come on, Alex. He says, "Great content, guys. I feel like a whiskey now." This is my brother, who's not really a whiskey drinker. Well, he does like the occasional dram, but I'm trying to educate him. So cheers for that, Alex. Hope you actually are having a whiskey and you're not actually pretending.
Cheers.
You guys were also talking a bit about some of the challenges that we've all faced over the last couple of months. So I was wondering if you could talk a bit about the challenges of working through the first kind of more formalized period of lockdown, and how that's kind of working now with a bit more freedom, social distancing, etc.
Yeah, so obviously I'm part of our kind of office team, so we're all working remotely where we can, and only coming in where absolutely necessary, and kind of doing everything I'm sure every other office is doing. But I mean, Elizabeth and the distillers and the production team have a lot of challenges. Obviously, they have to be here, so you wanna
Yeah, so with us, it's been a lot of wearing masks, filling out a lot more paperwork. So everyone is signed in, everyone is in our own track and trace. There's been a lot of cleaning, a lot of wiping surfaces, probably more than I've done in a while. But yeah, and we're basically keeping social distance wherever we can. As we've restarted the tours, we've been in communication with the team, so we know when the tours are coming. We try and sort of keep our distance. If obviously we still need to tend to the equipment, but we do that with, everyone's wearing masks. We try to keep as much distance as possible and time things so that we're maybe not up or too near any of the tours. And to be honest, with the tours, they've been absolutely great. There's been no issues with people. Everybody's been really great and compliant. It's a maximum of 2 households. Everybody's been masked up, and it's been working well so far. Touch wood.
Just a lot of communication.
Yeah.
Sounds good, and it's really good that you guys are open for tours again. So how do you organize a tour if you want to come and visit?
So we're doing it by kind of prior arrangement only. So if you get in touch with our visitor centre team, they can book you in, just so we can manage numbers and keep track of kind of who's coming in and households and everything. As Elizabeth said, it's a lot of organisation and work these days. So yeah, if you phone us or email us, we can book you in.
Awesome.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
I know how that feels. It's nice under the venues before we closed again, sadly. Hopefully we'll be open again soon. But yeah, there's a bit of work going into it, but we'll get there. We'll get there in the end.
Yeah, needs must and all that.
Exactly.
Oh, well, absolutely. One final question for you guys, and that is, if you were choosing a cask yourself, if you were choosing a flavour, what flavour would you each choose?
See, I think that's quite easy because I did it last year. I chose that. I went for specialty, and so used chocolate and crystal malts because kind of as this is one of the only distilleries using them, I just think it's really cool and I wanted to do that. And so used those malts and then some brewer's yeast as suggested by my lovely distillers, and then we filled that into a Spanish sherry hogshead. So I'm very excited to see how that turns out in a few years.
So am I. And for my cask, I went with some specialty malt as well, but I made sure to put it in after some chocolate runs. So I got sort of hint of chocolate through the things, and then I used some distillers and wine yeast just for fruitiness. And I've gone for an ex-bourbon just now, but I'm planning on finishing it. I'm still not 100% sure yet. It might be in a red wine cask, or we'll see where we are in 10, 12 years' time.
We're going to do some swaps so we can taste each other.
There'll be a swap for everybody in the cask program. That will be organised in time, so you'll be able to swap bottles with everyone and sort of see different recipes. So that I'm very excited for that part.
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds amazing.
If you want to swap bottles, then I'm sure we can work something out as well. You can try that.
Well, I wanted to thank you guys both for coming on and talking to us tonight, and for coming into the distillery as well and telling us all about Holyrood. And we hope to see you guys soon in real life for a dram.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Wow. I want to try their whiskey now. It's not ready yet, and I want to try it.
I was going to ask when they think their custom casks will be ready to sample. I guess it's the kind of thing you try as it goes, as it matures.
Yeah, but it's
just
just
one way to do it.
Yeah. One day, eh?
I know, absolutely. Well, we're going to go into the next cocktail.
Yeah, or even we could go with pub quiz.
We could almost skip the pub quiz altogether there, but let's do that.
You did, but I also want to give a shout out to GP and Andy Phil, who are both tuning in. GP's joining in from Tuscany, which sounds lovely, and he says, "Sorry about the photo. I've got MND, but can still enjoy a dram." No worries. And Tyrol, so Austria, I'm guessing. Strong Waters Whiskey Club. Sounds amazing.
Awesome. good to see people tuning in from all over the globe.
Yeah, makes us all feel a bit closer together, don't you think?
Absolutely, yeah.
Well, I think pub quiz now. What do you think?
Okay. Yep.
Yeah.
Everyone ready?
Get your pens and papers, however you want to score your points, and tell us how you do. Shout your answers out in the comments, and we'll get started with the first question.
Okay, let's go.
So, first question. In Scotland, the Angels' share is between 1.5 and 2.5%. What is it in Taiwan? Is it A, 1.5 to 2.5%, B, 3%, 5%, C, 6%, 8%, or D, 9% to 11%? What do you think, Callum?
Well, if I'm being honest, we had a wee practice run. I quizzed the guys in the venue today when we're doing our home deliveries. And this is a tricky one. I actually think they got this wrong. I can't remember honestly what I was going to go for. I think you think of a hot country, so you're tempted to go, as high as you can. So I think we all said D.
Yeah, I think D would be a pretty solid guess. I know the answer, so I'm not going to give anything away. But it is, Taiwan is quite a humid country, so you would think that it could be quite a high percentage. Let's see, we got any more answers coming in? Jerry thinks it's D. Any other guesses? No? Okay, I think we're going to move on to the answer for this one. So the answer is C, 6 to 8%. 6 to 8%, which is surprising because in India, you can have an Angel share of almost 12%. So I actually thought that was a really surprising number.
Yeah, we know it's going to be more, but you'd think it'd be more coming to India for sure. There you go. I guess we're lucky we don't lose as much whiskey in this country.
Yeah, I would say that 1.5 to 2.5% is pretty optimal.
Sounds nice.
Right. You want to take the next one?
Sure. Okay. If you've tried cask number 35.248, Electric Equilibrium, or cask number 66.167, Big and Punchy, you may have recognized Calvados in our tasting notes. What is Calvados? Is it A, apple or pear brandy, B, apricot liqueur, C, orange liqueur made in Normandy, or D, plum brandy? You know that one?
I do. I think I do. Well, I know. I mean, they're all something to do with fruit, right? So you could probably guess from there that it's going to be one of those answers, right?
It's got to be one of them, Mads.
But we'll see what everyone else thinks. Do you know the answer to this one?
If I'm being honest, I've heard of it, but I didn't know. No, I didn't know. And when I asked my colleagues, they said they mentioned Normandy, so I was thinking maybe it was orange liqueur. But do you want to reveal the answer? Shall I?
We've got some guesses here. JP thinks it's D, plum brandy. Matthew thinks it's A, apple or pear brandy. Claire Busby, my future sister-in-law, thinks it's A, I guess. And Andy also thinks it's A.
Well, we've got a few A's there. So
we've got a lot of A's. It's A. Yeah. So my fun fact about this one is it's an appellation. So you'll only find it in 3 French départements. There are a couple of other départements where they'll use it, but it doesn't cover the whole area. And it's really, really tasty if you have it with an apple dessert. So I know it sounds weird, like apple brandy and apple dessert, but actually it's magical.
Never tried it. I'm going to have to now.
Oh, it's good. You should try it. Everyone should try it.
Right, I will.
Okay. Question number 3. What is a mash bill? Is it A, the weight of barley per mash, B, the screw feed that pumps grist into the mash tun, C, the mix and percentage of grains used in the production process, or D, a way to keep track of what's being produced in the distillery? So I have to admit, I think it's D.
You don't know? Or you thought it was D before you found out the answer?
I can't give it away, can I? So we've got some answers coming in. We've got an A, a C. Have we got any? A C. So lots of people saying they think it's the mix percentage of grain. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a 50-50 split, I would say, more or less.
Yeah.
Wait and see if we've got
Are you
any
going to
more.
reveal the answer?
It is the C. So, yes, I didn't think it was D. I was just, pretending that I thought it was D.
Oh, I see. Very clever. I know I'm probably giving away too quickly. Not giving people at home a chance to take a guess.
Well, mash bills, actually, it's a term that you'll find more often used in the bourbon world. So it is the mix and percentage of grains used in the production process. But it's usually also things like corn, rye, wheat, and malted barley. So there you have it. There's a mash bill.
There you go.
Next question.
Yeah. I had trouble pronouncing one of the words in your day, but after a few goes, I'll see if I can get it right.
Okay. Better you than me.
Oh, here we go. During maturation, ethanol is oxidized into acetaldehyde. Acetaldehyde? I can't even say it now. Made it worse. What kind of flavors and aromas would you associate? I've got to say it again. Acetaldehyde. So what kind of flavors would you associate? So is it A, grassy? B, floral? C, vinegar? Or D, fruity? Is this one that did you know this one, or it's a harder one?
I kind of had a thought, but it was an incorrect thought.
Yeah, I think we were similar as well, because like I said, I was testing the guys on it, and I think this is one that we were kind of torn between two of the answers, and it comes down to a bit of a 50-50, and I think we might have got it wrong, but
yeah. It's a bit of a tricky question, to be honest, because what you think isn't what it is. So Matthew thinks it's B. Callum thinks it's B. We've got lots of Bs. I think everyone thinks it's B.
Mm-hmm.
Derek thinks it's C.
C, okay.
We've got an A in there as well. Jerry thinks it's A. Matthew thinks it's B. Okay, well, we're going to reveal the answer now. It's not what you think. It is grassy.
Grassy. Yeah, I think you'd think it would smell like vinegar, but it's more like fresh cut grass. We actually thought, we took a guess at floral. So I guess floral's not a bit closer to grassy than vinegar anyway, that's for sure.
Oh, I thought floral as well.
Yeah.
And you would experience this kind of smell or aroma in our young and sprightly whiskies usually. But it's also something you'd find in a lot of Speyside whiskies, particularly those from Chivas distilleries. So the next time you have one of those, see if you can identify it.
Absolutely.
On to question 5 is a picture question. On which island would you find this distillery?
Pictures are always tricky, aren't they? You want to zoom in on the background and see what's outside.
Yeah, exactly. It's a tough one. Is it A, Arran, B, Mull, C, Skye, or D, Grassy? And confusingly, Unfiltered has been to all of these islands, so you could guess any one of them, and it might be true or not. So Callum thinks it's Grassy. It's a tricky one.
It is a tricky one.
Because you can't quite see out the window, so you can't entirely figure it out.
Also because, well, Mull only has one distillery. Grassy now only has one. Arran now has two. Skye now has two. So
Which
it's not
one
quite
is
as simple as what distillery it is, it's also what island it is as well.
Yeah. So Callum thinks it's Grassy. Matthew thinks it's A, Largs. Jerry thinks it's C, Skye. And GP thinks it's D, Grassy. Dirk thinks it's C, Skye. So lots of people thinking it's on Skye. But
yeah, okay, there you go.
it's Arran. It's Lag Distillery. So Unfiltered editor Richard Goslin, who coincidentally is producing tonight's show, he visited Lag Distillery earlier this year, and you can find a podcast about his experience on Whiskey Talk.
Do you know, I've never been to Arran Distillery, and it's shocking because I've been to Arran so many times, and I've been to so many distilleries, and I'm ashamed to say that I have never been. So, mark my words, I'm going to go soon. As soon as I'm allowed, Mads, okay?
As soon as you're allowed, yeah, I'm going to hold you to it.
Okay, you can come too if you like.
Yeah, okay, yeah. We'll do a wee SMWS day trip. Sounds good.
It's a deal. Okay, so next question, question 6. Which of these flavour notes from our glossary would you use if you were describing a whiskey as estery? Verbena, pineapple cubes, vino de naranja, or rose? I wasn't familiar with all these flavours, if I'm being honest.
I have
pineapple cubes. I've heard of cola cubes. Pineapple cubes, is that just a pineapple-y sweet, or?
Well, I'm not sure. I thought it was either a sweet or a pineapple cut into cubes, but I don't know.
I never thought of that, actually. Yeah, it could be that as well, couldn't it?
I'm not down with all of the Scottish sweeties. I don't know them all yet. I need to probably familiarize myself with them and sit down and try them with some drams.
You use the word "yet" there, so yeah.
Yet, yeah. There's time. There's time. And Matthew thinks it's D. I will say that estery is one of those concepts that when I first came to whiskey, I was like, what is that? I'm just not sure I entirely get what that is and what to kind of look out for when I'm nosing whiskey. Because it's a tough one.
It is tough. So your own interpretation of it as well. So different people get different flavors too, which makes it even more complicated.
Gary's not sure.
At least he's honest.
GP thinks it's A, Verbena, which is a good guess. Definitely could be A. Dirk says C, could also be C. Not giving anything away here. Because the answer actually is all of them. It was a trick question.
Yeah.
So all of these could be described as estery, and the fun fact about this is that you'll find estery notes in a lot of our young and sprightly, light and delicate, sweet, fruity, and mellow drams. But you will also find them occasionally in an old and dignified dram. So sometimes you get a kind of perfumey old note in an old and dignified dram, and that can also be categorized as estery, according to Dr. Andy.
That's interesting when you say about the old and dignified, because I hadn't really thought about it like that before, but I'll need to delve into some more old and dignified whiskies to check, just to make sure.
Just to make sure, absolutely. Good way to make absolutely sure that you understand estery in all of its forms.
The only way.
Well, we'll move on to question 7 now, which is, you've added water to your SMWS whiskey and it's gone cloudy. Why? So, is it because there's calcium in the water that you added to the whiskey? B, there's soapy residue that's been left in the glass. Can happen to anyone. C, the fatty acid esters are coming out of solution. Or D, the whiskey is corked, which can also happen. You know, I think quite often we talk about wine being corked and we don't think about it happening with whiskey as often, but it can actually happen.
Can it? Is that right?
Yeah, it can. It's rare. I mean, you don't get it very often, but it can happen.
I suppose, yeah. It would take a lot longer than it would with wine, though.
Yeah, it would.
It's going to take a few years as opposed to a bottle of wine might not take that long at all.
So Matthew thinks it's C. Have we got any other guesses? What do you think it is, Callum? Do you know?
This is one that I'd probably get in trouble for not knowing, given all the training that we've been getting over lockdown and just in general, SMWS. Yeah, we're all about cask strength whiskey. So if I didn't know this one, then I'd be in trouble. I think I take it. But I mean, you could argue that other ones could cause it as well, I suppose. But
they all could be viable reasons, but the vast majority seem to think that the answer is C. Is it? Will we find out? It is C. It is C. So this is something that's really typical of cask strength whiskies that haven't been chill filtered. Any that aren't chill filtered are usually bottled at over 46% ABV, and that's to prevent cloudiness in the bottle. You'll find that you get this chill haze if you add really cold water to your dram, or also if you add ice.
And don't forget, that's all the flavour that's coming out at that point as well.
Yeah. So it's no bad thing. It's normal. It's a chemical reaction.
It's a great thing.
It's a great thing.
Beautiful thing.
Beautiful.
Okay. Question 8. What is this a picture of? This is one that I found one of the harder questions, to be honest, because it's not something that I was particularly familiar with. So is it A, heat exchanger, B, a chill filtration filter, C, a mash filter, or D, a grain conveyor?
It is a hard one.
Yeah,
I have to admit, I had no idea. I actually chose this picture because I had no idea what it was when I found it. Stuart Borland, mash filter.
Again, mash filter. I would say he doesn't know what he's talking about, but we'll find out shortly.
Well, it could be a lot of different things. Looking at it.
And from this angle as well, it's kind of hard to see exactly what it is.
GP thinks it's a heat exchanger. Oh, Richard has thrown the gauntlet down and said extra points if you can name the distillery. Okay, I won't reveal the distillery just yet because that might give it away.
Wow.
Oh, any other guesses?
So we got 2 C's. No, we got 3 C's, have we?
Yeah, I think 3 C's, an A.
I think that's a bit hard asking what distillery it is. Well, there we go. There's the answer. Mash filter. I certainly didn't know what distillery it was.
I didn't know what distillery it was. Richard says he's in the picture, so he knows, which is accurate. Yes.
Oh, is he? Oh, didn't realize.
Yes, he's the one wearing the hat.
Listening with his wee cap on. Very cool.
Yeah.
Richard. Yeah.
So the fun fact about the mash filter is, so this is an Inchdarney distillery, which isn't actually open to the public. It's a distillery in Fife, and their distiller Ian has opted to use the mash filter instead of a mash tun because it squeezes more starch and sugar from the mash, which has potential to yield more alcohol going into the wash.
I wonder how many other distilleries have this. Someone said to me that Waterford have this as well, but you know what? I haven't actually looked it up to check. So
there aren't many. It's not very popular. I think Tian maybe has one as well. Potentially, I could be totally wrong there, but there aren't many, certainly.
Stuart Borland says Waterford there, so
yeah.
I could be right. Yeah,
could be right.
He's a big fan of Waterford, doesn't shop about it.
And Jerry was off getting a dram of 123.33, which is a good reason to miss the question, to be fair.
Well, fair enough. Yeah, if there's any reason to miss the question, I think you should do this one. I know it's actually, I think it's something that's close to your heart, without giving it away too much.
Yeah. Okay, I'll do that. Yeah, if you twist my arm, why don't you? Yeah. As the darker autumn evenings draw and we Korean, we might light some candles to relax with the dram. Which of these distilleries' spirits is renowned for being waxy? Is it A, Glenfiddich, B, Clynelish. C. Oh, we've already got some answers coming in. C. Ardbeg. Or D. Craigellachie. I think you just wanted me to read out Craigellachie and see if I pronounced it correctly.
We did, yeah.
Because it does throw a lot of people.
There's harder ones to pronounce than Craigellachie, surely. There's a few really tricky ones.
Yeah, it's Scottish distillery names I think were put out there to test us on pronunciation as foreigners.
I know. I did a short spell and working in duty free at the airport in the world of whiskies. And we used to play a game where we would test all the foreigners coming through, just for fun, and we would grab a few bottles and say, how do you think you pronounce this one? Not for nastiness, and they would have a laugh with it as well. That was all, because it is hard. You don't know until someone tells you.
Yeah.
And then some of the Gaelic ones, it's just, oh my God.
Well, we've got a lot of guesses coming in. Matthew thinks it's Clynelish. Frank thinks it's B, which is also Clynelish. GP thinks it's B. Sarah Geraghty thinks it's B. We've got a D. Craigellachie.
Yeah, we've got like 4 B's and a D.
Does the majority have it, though?
What do you think?
They do. It is, in fact, Clynelish. I have to admit, I chose this question because it is one of my favorite distilleries, and it doesn't hurt that their logo is a Scottish wildcat, which one day I hope to meet.
That's a strange thing to want to meet.
Well, like just see, maybe not meet, like maybe not meet while camping or something, because that could be a bit scary.
I've seen them in a wildlife park before, but never in the wild.
And Andrew calling me out there, could have guessed this fan favorite would be in here somewhere. Yes, everyone.
Yeah, to be honest, Mads, I was kind of thinking the same. I mean, yeah.
Well,
quiet, but the love for Clynelish.
Quizmaster perks. You have to, put in a question about one of your favorite distilleries.
I mean, the quiz is hard, so any kind of help, then.
Yeah, it's true. Last question.
Speaking of hard questions, this is very tricky. This one. At which spellbinding distillery would you find these? Is it A. Aberlour, B. Balvenie, C. Mortlach, or D. Glenfiddich? I guess you have to work out what these are, first of all.
Mm-hmm. And then you have to figure out which distillery in Dufftown it is, because they're all within a stone's throw of each other.
Oh, yeah. Actually, do you know what? I never thought about that. And is the spellbinding, is that a clue?
Yes. So, I mean, if you were thinking of Halloween, then E, no idea.
Fair enough.
I actually have to correct myself. They're not all in Dufftown.
Did you know this one?
I knew this one because, again, I came across the picture and asked someone what it was when I first started working for the society.
Okay, no, I've never seen this before.
But it is a unique view of something that you would find at one of these distilleries.
Yeah, I guess that probably makes it a little bit harder because you're only getting a small picture of what it actually is, and from above as well. So
yes.
I have probably never seen this from above before.
I don't think many people do, so it is quite a unique viewpoint. Callum thinks it's D, Glenfiddich. GP thinks it's B, Balvenie. Give some credit to the photographer as well. It's Peter Sandground that's taken this photo for Unfiltered.
He risked his life to take this picture. So, shall we reveal the answer? There we go.
Yes,
so
it's Mortlach.
And it's actually the view from above a worm tub.
Yeah.
Wow.
Something you don't see every day.
No, never seen before.
And that's the pub quiz.
There we go. That was good fun.
Yeah, it was.
It was good. Not some difficult questions, but some not too bad. You don't want to make it too easy at the end of the day.
No, it is actually quite challenging writing a quiz about whiskey, I have to say, because you kind of want to put all of your favorite things down, but also people will know your favorite things maybe. So you gotta mix it up a bit.
Absolutely. Plus, there's so much information in Scotch whiskey that it's easy to forget things. So a wee quiz gently reminds you.
Oh, absolutely. And I think that's actually one of the things I'm really looking forward to when we're all allowed to go back into the pubs is sitting down and doing a pub quiz or two, having a few drams with friends.
It's certainly something we've talked about. Well, there's a lot of things we've talked about doing at the Glasgow venue, but we haven't really had the chance of doing it. And that was something that came up was, doing a wee whiskey quiz at the venue. How good would that be?
Indeed. Yeah, no, let's do it. Let's make it happen.
Okay, we will, right? It's a deal. You can host it, right?
Jerry says, always learning at the Society. Yes, absolutely.
Me too.
We are constantly learning as well. Every day is a school day.
Yeah.
For sure. Well, I think we've actually got time for another cocktail, which I believe is also from the Glasgow venue.
Yes, so I'm another one of my colleagues here, Anthony Delcroix. I've probably pronounced his name wrong. He always tells me off for that one. So he's got a wee cocktail for you. It's called Milk and Punch. So let's check this out.
Hello folks, so my name's Anthony. I work in Bath Street in Glasgow, and today I'm going to show you how to make a little Christmas milk punch with one of our whiskies. So I've picked the Black Oak blend, was one of our most recent blends that was released this summer. I picked this one because it was finished in Armagnac casks, Black Oak casks with Speyside whiskey, so we're on some nice kind of sweet fruity notes and there's that kind of spicy finish to it. And a wonderful woodiness that goes along with the almond milk. I'm going to put some vanilla syrup in it as well and finish off with some nutmegs, something relatively sweet and a little bit spicy on the aromas as well, which is quite a nice one for Christmas Day, or to ask your kids to slip in for Santa to come pick up when he's dropping off the presents. So I'm going to put down your 50 mils of almond milk. So this drink is fairly simple, just with 3 ingredients. So you could actually build it in the glass if you wanted to, but I prefer shaking it. It gives it a little bit more texture, froths up the milk a little bit, and cools the drink also, obviously. But if you don't have a shaker, it's easy to build as well. And so with the almond milk, I'm putting 20 mils of vanilla syrup. So this is homemade vanilla syrup, equal parts sugar and water, and then a little vanilla pod in there, gives it a nice freshness. If you want, you can just use regular simple syrup and add vanilla extract to it, but you won't get, and I think you just get a much more natural vanilla flavoring from these kind of homemade syrups. And then put a shot and a half of our Black Oak blend. So that's 37.5 mils. And fill your tin. As much as you can. And give it a good shake. Nice rocks glass. Fill it right up with ice. And just a single strain is fine. So you can use regular milk as well, but I think almond milk, it's dairy free and it brings that nice nuttiness as well that reminds you of Christmas. And just grate some nutmeg on top. The nutmeg is really there mainly for aroma. So when you kind of dive in, you get that nice kind of spicy aroma coming to your nose. But there it is. Sweet Society milk punch for you.
Okay, I'm definitely trying that tomorrow night.
The handsome Anthony in the Glasgow venue, it was quite an intense shaking going on there. I like the way the camera was zooming in on him.
Yeah.
That funky ball playing.
Yeah, I actually wonder if you could teach me to shake a cocktail shaker that way, because it was quite, it was very skillful.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I always feel like I look a bit silly when I'm shaking a cocktail shaker, because
that's it. Yeah,
I'm new to all of this cocktail stuff.
I know. Full commitment. That's the way to go for it.
Absolutely. I mean, we're all at home, so we may as well learn how to make a cocktail or two.
Exactly.
Well, we've got a question here from First Phil, actually, which is more whiskey related, and that is: has anyone else here tried Kiln Full of Kippers? Belter of a dram. Just thought I'd ask how folks are getting on with it. I haven't tried that dram, but I was quite intrigued by it. So if anyone else has tried it, shout and tell us how you got on, what tasting notes you got from it. Oh, Richard's had it.
Love it.
Yeah, he said he loved it. So Belter of a dram. There you have it. There's a bit of Scottish as well. Belter of a dram. That's not one you hear.
Well, that was the name of one of the whiskies we were talking about earlier as well.
Yeah, it was. I think when I first moved to Scotland, things like Belter of a dram or just Belter in general, I was a bit like, what does that mean?
There's quite a few colloquialisms out there that are a bit confusing.
Oh, sorry. Got a dog barking there.
I'm sure he'll pipe down a wee bit.
Yeah. Well, Richard says it's like being smacked in the face with a smoked kipper. So there you have it.
Have you actually been smacked in the face with a smoked kipper before, Richard? That is the question.
But yeah, I mean, that's a good question. Well, I think we've got time for one more video before we end things for the night. And I think you should probably introduce this one, Callum, because you know a bit more about it than I do.
Yeah, I know. Actually, I wonder if you can hear me right now. My neighbour up the stairs, right here, Stuart Carson. We just got chatting one day, and it turned out he was a big whiskey fan, me also, and he's been a long-term member at the Society. And actually, he was there encouraging when I told him that I was going to apply for a job at Society. So maybe I've got him to thank for being here right now. It was a great decision. I'm loving every second of it. And Stuart is, as much as he has a love for whiskey, he also has a love for music. He's a music teacher, but he's in a few different bands. He actually played in my wedding in a band called Funk Nation, and they were absolutely brilliant. He's played at the venue before, and the first week we opened one of the opening nights in a jazz duo. And him and a few friends got together during lockdown. And I think Richard actually played the video last week in one of the pub sessions. And it's a Steely Dan tribute called appropriately Lockdown. So this should be a bit of fun. I've seen that they've got a few different videos out there, and they're all really good laugh. And I'm sure it kept not only themselves but everybody else entertained during lockdown. So let's enjoy that video for one more time.
Sounds good.
I've seen your picture, your name and lights above it. This is your fake debut.
What a song to end the night with.
So good. Such good fun with all the Hawaiian shirts. Just for reference, Stuart was the guy with the kind of straw cowboy hat and on the saxophone.
Uh-huh.
Got to point him out, you know.
Got to. Absolutely.
I'm laughing at Richard's comment there, name dropping De La Soul, and I said to him, much more age appropriate for him to know the original than for him to know that De La Soul. He's not a happy chappy right now.
You are going to be taken out of the stream.
I'm not getting invited back. I don't think. Never mind.
Well, to go back to one of the questions, to just distract things a bit, someone's asked me whether I have tried the new 26.153 Smashing Apples. Matthew, I haven't. It is on my list to try because the tasting notes just sound amazing. So hopefully we'll get to try it very soon. But definitely, before we head off though, we do have a couple of things to just shout out. So obviously, thank you to you all for joining us this evening. And we've got a lot coming up. So there will be a First Friday pub. We'll confirm the date a bit closer to the time. You can also still get involved with our home dining experience. I believe you can actually order for tomorrow, still for Saturday night, both in Edinburgh and Glasgow, as long as you order by noon roughly. And then we've got our November virtual tasting, which is now for sale. So you can get yourself a tasting pack and join in with that. Dates for that will be announced shortly. I think it's 13th to the 16th of November, but packs are on sale now, so make sure you get yours before they're sold out.
Yeah.
And I think, bottle shop. You've got a bottle shop open as well, haven't you, Callum?
Yeah, I mean, we're doing the dine at home pickups. So the bottle shop is open from 4 till 6, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday this week, and then also next week as well. And then I cannot wait to see everyone back at the venue from the 27th onwards. Things have been going, great considering all the restrictions we've been under. Can't wait to actually open the venue, under normal terms. But yeah, come along, please. Love to see you down there.
Yes, yeah, I'll be there.
Well, I know you will.
I will be trying all of the different whiskies. I was going to name a distillery there, but I'll come and try all the whiskies. It's fine.
It's the only way, man. It's the only way.
It's the only way. Everything in moderation, however.
No, I don't mean all at once.
No, not all at once. Never all at once. But thank you so much to everyone for having joined us for this Central Belt Stuck at Home special. As ever, reach out to us if there's anything you need, and we'll try and sort it. In the meantime, stay safe and stay well, and cheers. Cheers, Callum.
Cheers. Thanks for having me on, Mads.
And cheers.
Cheers to everyone at home. Thanks a lot.
Cheers.